to a show.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Mats podcast. And it's been a while. It feels like it's been a while. I don't know. I guess because I haven't really sat down and recorded for a while, but I've had episodes in the can. And, I don't know. So I feel like I've been away from you guys for a while. So thank you, as always, to you guys, the listeners. I appreciate you guys. This week on episode, though, as we come back, I want to welcome a gentleman who reached out and put me on to this website he's got going on. And I was like, all right, bet, word. And then when he explained, I was like, oh, snap. That actually sounds tight. And it would have been helpful for me when I went to Detroit because I didn't know where to go for any jiu-jitsu. So I want to welcome here today as we talk about the tapandroll.com website, which, hold on here, I got notes, actually the notes aren't formulated, but it's a directory.
Sure.
It's jiu-jitsu gym directory. And
yes,
here to talk about it is Mr. John Harris, who I've been talking with for quite a while and having a good old time. So John,
we almost didn't have time for the podcast. Our personal conversations got too in depth.
My wife texted me, was like, how's the pod going? I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on here.
No, man, thank you. Just sharing your time and making me aware of this, making us all aware of this. So I guess what I want to first ask
Sure.
before I get into the site itself, with you in training, how long have you been training? Where do you train? What's your range?
Sure. So I'm getting ready to go on my 7th year of training. I'm at the tail end of my purple belt. I try not to focus too much on belts because we're told not to do that, but I'm tentatively hoping by this time next year I'll have my brown. I don't want to sandbag, but but yeah, no, I'll be coming up on my 7th year of training. I train at a gym here in Montana called Dragonfire BJJ. We are a Team Rhino affiliate. For people that know about Team Rhino, it was headed by the late Professor Keith Owen. So yeah, really great lineage, really great instruction. Love my gym, and I think I've always been kind of looking for ways in that because like we all have a story of how much jiu-jitsu has impacted our life, right? And I'm always looking for a way that I can get back and make things easier. I feel like as we grow up in belts, we become kind of the parents, right? And it's like, well, what can we do to ease the journey for the kids that are coming in and make things better? And our gym, I feel for our gym has a really great culture, and I've traveled and stuff like that. And I was like, well, how can I make it easier? What can we do so that people of like any specific niche, maybe they're like you going to Detroit or something like that, can find what they're looking for more easily, and that you don't have this experience where, maybe you're the 48-year-old dad who's just training jiu-jitsu to get in better health, and you just want to learn some self-defense techniques, and accidentally end up at the gym, with the 20-year-old college wrestler guys that are just like, in the garage throwing each other around and stuff, which that's great if that's what you're looking for. But, and the other flip side of that is I want to make it better for the gyms too, especially during 2020. I think that's when he had said it. I remember listening to a thing from Nick Albin once, Jiu-Jitsu, where he was talking about how if you're a gym owner, your gym is like your garden, and you have to put these walls up around the gym, you have to tend to the flowers, and you have to make sure that if you want the flowers to grow, you have to be willing to go through and plug up the weeds. I'm paraphrasing. If I said anything wrong, don't show up and kill me. But I wanted to find a way too that like we can kind of take some of the burden off of these gyms so that when you do get drop-ins, that you can feel like they're a little bit vetted and that they're looking for what you're offering, and that you don't have these concerns like, was this person just going to come in and like, break somebody's shoulder, and that they get to go back home, they get to train. But now this person that I've been fostering for, 3 years training underneath me, like now where does their jiu-jitsu journey go? And so that is a really long way of saying that's kind of was the inception of me starting Tap Middle.
Nice. Like when you initially mentioned it, in my mind, I was like, again, great idea that like, and it's crazy because it's like I feel like that, like, why hasn't that been a thing? Because like when last time I went to Detroit, about a year ago, like now we're the kind of travelers, my family and I, where we're about our business. We show up, we do the thing, we leave. Part of that is because I did pack a gi. It's like just in case I might stumble into a gym. I don't know. Detroit wild sometimes. You might find a fight club.
Be prepared.
But yeah, it's like, wait, hold on. Let me put on my gi. Like, what the this guy? but that would have been helpful though, because beforehand, you get to look up, what's available, if there's a drop-in fee, stuff like that. And it's like, dude, I love this idea. This, and just the way that you kind of present it too is like, how can you make things easier for others, that come after me? Because you don't see that, enough with people. It's like, I'm going to just do my thing and keep going, not thinking about, making the path, and making it something for others to not have to struggle. So thank you for that, for sure.
Well, you're welcome. And yeah, I mean, I kind of thought the same thing when I first started thinking about the idea. I was like, well, surely there has to be something else. And surely, I mean, there are other BJJ directories, right? But I haven't seen any start to go down the path that I want to take this, And granted, sure, you can hop on Google, you can hop on Chat GPT, you can ask it for a list of like gyms in the area. But my thought process is like, if you're traveling, you usually limit on time. And we all know we have something specific we're looking for. So for the woman that may be in Detroit, I'm just going to use that because that's the example that you've had. I want her to be able to immediately go to the directory and see, okay, like here's 3 schools that offer women's only classes. If that's what I'm looking for, that I can go and I can jump in at one of these women's only classes, and all of the gym cards for the gyms when they sign up and they get verified, have a link to their website. So a visitor can go back to their website, find out more about them and stuff like that. But I think it just takes away some of the guesswork. And I've had uncomfortable experiences. I went to drop into a place one time when I was in Calgary with a friend, and it had their times listed on the website as this was the adult class and everything. And we went in and like, I'm not sure what type of class was happening at that time. It was like many different ages on the mat. And the people that were working there didn't seem that interested at all, that we were kind of standing there and wanted to see what was up. And I was just like, I feel like I'm intruding on something that I'm not supposed to be here. And so we kind of turned around and left. And it's like, if I can save the gym that experience, and if I can save the practitioner that experience, that's my goal.
Well, that's definitely, I think, a big help to all parties involved. The gym, the student, the visitor, everyone, because like you say, felt like, hey, there seems like there's something else going on, and I stumbled into the wrong territory. I was just looking up last Friday. I was off, and I was like, my gym, for whatever reason, they were closed that day, and I was like, well, damn, like I want to get some training, and I'm off today. Let me go, train. And I'm looking around. There are a few gyms here, but it just felt like there's a specific class that was going on at the time. I was just like, I don't want to, if there's like an open mat, which I think there was a gym that had an open mat, but it was going to be much later, past family time now, and in the evening for me. So I was like, but just having that readily available, where it's not just kind of go on to Google and you're spending a lot of time just searching around. And when you Google something too, one of the things that I run into with Google is, first off, you get the sponsored post, that come up first may not even be what you're looking for, not even remotely close, number one. But then number two, there's so much stuff. It's like overwhelming at times, to the point where I'm just like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and get a honey bun. There we have it. I like pastries.
Yeah, no, I get it, and that's why I said, like, as much as I can kind of streamline this and see where I can take this, the directory is 100% free. We don't charge gyms to be on there at all. I'm never going to. It's not my plan, because I want this to be a free service that we're giving back to the jiu-jitsu community. And I really started it too, in mind that a lot of the gyms out there, we know this, a lot of the gyms are small. You might have the one guy that's also the jiu-jitsu black belt. It's just him that's running his gym, out of his 750 square foot place. And he's being the admin and the janitor and everything too. And it's just how can I make life easier for you so you can give back your time where it's making the most difference, which is on the mats, right? And so that's just, like I said, I've got a ton of ideas of where I want to take this, and it's still in its inception, but we've had a really positive response so far. We've had a lot of people think we're bots. I've had some people be like, I've never heard of you. And it's like, well, I told you we're new. So of course you haven't, and I get I love jiu-jitsu, and it cracks me up sometimes. We all share this commonality love of this, martial art that we're coming together and training, whether we're gi, we're no gi, we're sport, we're non-sport. We all share this commonality, but we're still so tribalistic in some ways of stuff. And that was another part of it too. It's this way, if you're traveling and you hop on the directory, you can find your tribe. If you're a Leo and you're looking to go to a gym, I'm friends with Ari that runs Invictus. So it's if you're going for a gym and you're looking for a gym that offers Leo training, then you can find that, and you can do it with a couple clicks. So that's really my goal. My goal isn't to become rich off of it. My goal is to make people's path to find adequate training for what they're looking for easier when they're not at their home gym, and to find a culture that's close to that home gym.
Before, when we're talking, we're just a lot of similarities, and just we're twins in this and that, and even just in this ideal of giving back to the community, similar there. So I love it. It's just one of those things where someone might have an idea. It's but how can I make a lot of money off of this? And I was like you said, you might have that one, black belt who's running the gym by himself. Mm-hmm. And, it's why are we trying to nickel and dime people and break pockets? Because at the end of the day, that's what a lot of stuff comes down to, unfortunately. But in this format, we just want people to train. So
just, my thought process in life, like I told you too, I was raised by a real old school German parent and stuff. So it's whenever I do things like this, I'm if you do it for the sake of doing it and you do it for the right reason, that's the reward in and of itself, right? Is that you help the community and you're trying to make things better. And maybe even in the grand scheme of life, I don't achieve that, but I planted a seed for somebody else that is able to take something off that and run with it. That's the reward. Anything else you get beyond that's just kind of unexpected, things from life. But it's not in my it's not my cards or my plans that I'm doing this. I'm fortunate to be in a position that I've worked for myself for the last 15 years. And all of that is remote, and I'm on my computer a lot. And so I was well, life has given me this opportunity. So what better way to make use of this time and my freedom than to try and really, really do this, and like I said, there are other directories out there, but a lot of the things I've noticed is they're outdated. The people got the information one time. And so we're going through this process now of we're kind of in triage, for lack of a better word, that I've put all of these gyms that I can find in here, and now we're reaching out to them. For those of you, if we've reached out to you, yes, Sophia is a real person. She's not a bot. She's legitimately trying to help you guys get on the directory so we can help people find your schools. and I want to go through, we've been going through once a month and making sure that the information we still have at least shows on a Google listing until we can actually reach somebody at that school is on there. And then my goal is to hope that we don't have any gyms on there that are closed or anything like that, because again, that detracts from the experience, right? You don't want to read these great reviews on this place and be like, I'm so excited to go. I've heard so many great things about this black spot, and you pull up and it's like, this place closed last month. Well, shit, right?
I was gonna go there. See my drop-in fee and everything.
Yeah, right.
Where's my money?
Right. And that's my other thing too, is as I'm sure, I don't want to steal the podcast from you, but there is a software as a service, a SaaS element to this that we're offering, but it's I'm not pushing it as much. But again, it's the small gym that's in mind. It's so that they can sign up for the service, and then if I want to come drop in at your Jake Dante, or at your gym, I go to the website, it pulls up the page for your gym. I can read the waiver. I can see the culture requirements already from your school, realize what's acceptable. If my vibe checks with that, I can pay my drop-in fee, and you get all the information, and I'm ready to go when I show up. So you, as that singular black belt that does not have the admin staff and stuff like that, we can just get me going on the mats, and that I'm good. And I know there are things out there in a sense like that, but they're not, in my opinion, priced at a point that makes it feasible for a small gym to do that. And the other thing is they tend to be, I think gym softwares, they're businesses, right? So they tend to be focused on how can we make this as bland as possible so that it can apply to 50 different types of gym, whether it's martial arts or it's yoga or it's this and this and this. And we're going to charge these people a premium value for it, and you've got 10 members, but you're paying $300 a month for this. It's just not feasible for the guy who has a really great gift and talent that's trying to give back. And he's just trying to keep the lights on so he can have these people, come in and train and better their lives. And so I know I keep coming back to that, sorry, but it is the heart and soul, because it's I want those places to thrive. I want those places to succeed, and even if it's the little gym, with, 5 people in Huntsville, Alabama, or something like that. I want there to be a place that's open for, youth to be able to come in, for people of all walks of life to be able to continue to train.
Good. Yeah. It's takes away, again, the heavy lifting of trying to get set up. Like you said, you go in there, you can sign the waiver. Go ahead and get that knocked out right away. If there's a drop-in fee, get that taken care of right away. Learn about the culture. That stuff means so much. And to have it readily available. Sure, again, you can go Google this stuff and, take up extra time looking around and searching around. Because like I said, when you Google something, it gives you the sponsor ads first, and then it starts giving you all this other stuff, probably 7, links down. And I don't know, to me, like I said, I get overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And I just stop. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I'm going to go to ChatGPT instead. And then I go down a whole nother rabbit hole over there. And then I forget that I'm trying to go find a gym. So,
10 pages later, you're trying to still find out who's on the Epstein list.
It's like I'm now talking to ChatGPT, talk about the Epstein list, and they're like, "Dude, weren't you trying?" And ChatGPT has to remind us, like, "Weren't you trying to find a gym?"
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit. Like,
you're
my bad.
That ship has sailed.
Like, I don't want to go to the gym now. I have questions. So with your work, and you say, you're on the computer all the time, I did want to ask,
sure,
about, building the site and how you went about doing it, because, I guess in the bigger picture, it's not a small venture necessarily. It's very ambitious, it's, big goals. So, what went behind, I guess the software work of it and putting together the site itself.
So fortunately, I've done website design for quite a number of years. I used to be in a business with a partner where we did social media management, website design and marketing. And then I kind of ventured out on my own after that. So it's probably been 15 years of me doing that. So it was a great starting point to realize like, hey, things are changing, but I still have the experience that I need to be able to get this going. And then, I can, as things grow and I scale them, I can pull in help as I need to, for other things. So I built the site, and we've kind of run from there with it. And just, like I said, my plan is to scale. I'm very fortunate. I have free labor. I have a 16-year-old that wants to learn all of this stuff. That would be Sophia. So like she's heading up the social media marketing part of that. And then it's a great opportunity for me to teach her some coding too, and then show her, how we can run scripts when we encounter problems with the websites, how we can go through and fix this. And it's good for me too, because it's like, I forget sometimes that I'm not always marketing to people your age and my age, and that I might
Yeah.
need to think of some things a little bit fresher and try things a different way. So
Yeah, that's a in-house intern. That's what you got there.
yeah, that's a great way of saying it. That's the in-house intern. Yes, I like that. But yeah, so no, that's basically, pardon me, a lot of what it was just doing is, coding the site and making sure that we had proper plugins for what we were trying to accomplish for now, and then figuring out what the best way that we could get our social presence out there is. And, the social presence is still small at this time, but I never want to buy fake audiences. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to have a page that looks like I'm catering to 4,000 or 5,000 people when I'm only really reaching 2 people that matter. I would rather have a slow growth on that like gyms can see that we're legitimate, that they join, that they want to share things, they want to be featured through the social. That's something that we've been trying to do when gyms sign up for the free directory listing, that we'll give them a shout out. We try and pick one a week, and focus on like what the highlights of that gym are. Like you can go to this place. I think we just highlighted Halifax BJJ this week.
Yes.
Yeah, and so things like that. And like I said, it's just I realize somebody out there, it's really easy to sit and be like, oh well, you just did a post, give yourself a pat on the back, woohoo. And it's like, well, yeah, if that post helps somebody decide that that's the gym that was right for their culture, whether it's a trial or a drop-in, then yeah, I did do my job, and I'm proud of that. And like I said, as long as I can keep building that up and keep the momentum behind it, I'll be happy.
Yeah. The thing you just mentioned there, though, too, is like trial. This isn't just for us in the community already as well. It's
Right.
like, for that curious person that might want to take a look at a gym for the first time. So, it's branching and reaching, other, folks besides just us already inside the community. So, obviously, look at you already, expanding, like making big moves.
I'm trying, it's that Scorpio sign. And then, like I said, I'm a kid of an old school German immigrant. So the work ethic and the attention for detail are there.
For sure.
I'm trying.
And how long did it take, once you came up with the idea for it and then just, to launch, what was, did you have the idea one day, like Dr. Brown, with the flux capacitor, hit your head on the sink, and it was like, oh, here's the design. And then, many years later, or was it like, I've got an idea, let me work on this weekend. And, within a couple months, it was like, all right, we're rocking and rolling.
It's that one. So from the time that I had the idea to its inception was probably about 6.5 weeks.
Okay.
And there were a lot of late nights in there, because unfortunately the way I'm wired, like when I've started on something, I'm like, well, we're in it now, right? And we're going to push through. So there were a lot of late nights of trying to code things and figure some things out, and things crashing and then having to go back to the drawing board and start over again. But yeah, I want to say it was probably about 6.5 weeks from the time that I had the initial idea to get the site build out done to where I felt like it was at a point where the site could go live, and really start trying to interact and get people to sign up for the free directory. which, by the way, just if I can throw it out there, the free directory takes less than 5 minutes to sign up for. It's just some very basic questions about your gym. Like I said, Sophia, if she's reaching out to you on social media, she also realizes that you guys are busy. So a lot of times, if you just give her the go ahead that like, yes, you can go ahead and put our gym on here, she will take care of that for you. She'll spend the time to scour your website, find the answers to the questions that we need to have, and get you listed on there. Like I said, I'm not trying to create any more lifting for people. We're trying to take it away.
Well, these days, I think that's a currency in itself. So, hey, if you're listening, like take them up on that offer, man. He's trying to help you all out. We're trying to get folks on your mats. So, whenever I travel next, like we mentioned before off air, me trying to go to Iceland, and that's going to be one of the first things I do when I go. It's like, yo, where the jiu-jitsu at? I know y'all got mats. I know it's covered in snow, but we can still roll, right?
Just give me like a month or two heads up before you head there, because I've tried to stay pretty centralized right now in getting US gyms on here and getting Canadian gyms on here. But we're obviously open to having gyms all over the world on there. But that's where the effort has been, right? Homegrown. Like first was like, okay, try and get everybody on the continent taken care of first, and then we'll start hitting people up in other areas and make sure that we can get the site able to be translated into their native languages and things like that. But again, I have to sometimes pump the brakes on myself. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here probably trying to do these things while we're on the podcast.
Hey, just for what it's worth, Iceland's probably, a year and a half away from me. So,
perfect.
But either way, before I go, I'll, be like, hey, John, just a heads up.
Yeah.
Going to be looking at Iceland. So, like, here's a thought. I got this. And, the stereotypes aren't true. It's not all snow, but I believe they don't have, I believe they don't have mosquitoes. And that might be worth me just, I don't know, trying to move there straight up. But first we got to find out what the gym situation is there.
Is Iceland the place? Is it, I think it was Iceland that like still like has like a really staunch belief in kind of like fairy tale creatures and having like little like gnome homes in places like that. And so they'll like reroute, like you're laughing at me, but I swear I read this somewhere that like if they have like highway projects planned or something like that, and they feel like they've like come across one of these places, that they'll like reroute the planning of this path to not disturb these things.
So I hope so. My wife would be someone who would know that, because she's my wife, a wild girl. Sometimes she's just looking up some stuff and I'm like, what are you doing? Like looking up gnomes. Like, nah, we won't do that here. But I did, weirdly enough, somehow got into this rabbit hole of looking up ghettos in Iceland, and it looked very much like here. So I was like, wow, okay, this looks normal. I thought there was gonna be like huts and all types of weird shit. It was like, nah, it was like apartment complexes. I was like, what? They got like masonry and all that shit?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. I didn't know that. I thought, I don't know what I thought, but obviously I don't have light listeners from Iceland. Otherwise I wouldn't be talking shit like that. Like, if I knew there were listeners from Bjork, then
you're gonna get like a DM 3 weeks later and be like, by the way, we were listening to your podcast, and I'm not even gonna try and think that I could pronounce a name of somewhere in Iceland, but
I don't.
It's like, we heard what you said on your podcast,
and my first thought would be like, oh, you listen. Like, I don't care that you're mad.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You're a listener. That's what counts. Yeah, perceptions of different places are crazy, isn't it? I had two thoughts on that the other day. Is I worked, as I told you, like with a tourism place for a while, and there would always be people that would come here from like other countries and be like, so like, where do we go to see like the cowboys and the Native Americans? And I'm like, well, like here are these museums, and like, no, like see them real. And I'm like, this is like what are you talking about? Like, we don't have like some area where this is like still actively happening, and this is how people are living their lives. And like, we were so surprised you had running water here. I'm like, what are you reading this at? Where are you getting your literature from? And then I was laughing the other day because I was looking at these. I'm kind of about these pod homes lately. Have you seen these? Like these
Oh,
aluminum homes you can buy. And it just dawned on me. I was like, oh my God, like, and you get this because we're the same generation. I'm like, the whole goal was to like get out of the trailer park. And now they like modified the trailers and we want to go back.
you can buy the trailers off Amazon now.
Yeah, like 30 grand, right? You can have your little 400 square foot place with your bed and everything in there. And I was just like, don't look too bad. Looks like a retirement plan.
Yeah. We've joked about getting one out back for a podcast studio.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was kind of like, I'm not mad at that idea because I think she's sick of us in here. So she's like, yeah, put a pod out back and then just pod out back. And I'm like, oh, I like what you did with those words there, lady. And then she pointed out, she was like, but in the summer it's gonna be real hot. And I was like, oh, okay. It was like in the winter it's gonna be real cold. I was like, okay, you're not really selling me on this right now. I
Right.
thought you were trying to get
Yeah.
rid of
You
me.
just undid all the progress.
Like, yeah, way to ruin it, lady. Great. Now we're stuck in this basement forever. Well, tonight I'm recording upstairs because ghost.
Yeah.
The
medicine cabinet, right? Yeah. We don't want any issues from the medicine cabinet.
Yeah, it's like, trust me, once I'm done, I'm not going back downstairs until the sun comes up. Even though I want some Oreo cookies right now, but you know, the ghost can keep them. All right. So with everything going through so far, what have been some of the, challenges that you've encountered getting set up and so forth?
So I think establishing yourself is difficult. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, we are still very tribalistic as jiu-jitsu practitioners. So I think, yeah, like when you hear a new place, it's like, well, I've never heard of you before, so why do I want to waste my time and stuff like that? And it's like, well, everybody started somewhere. There was a point where some of the biggest names in jiu-jitsu, we didn't know who they were. And so getting people like convinced of a free service sometimes has been a little more challenging than I would expect that it would be. And then definitely just trying to figure out what the best way to encompass everything that I want to include. I've tried to do, as far as our search features go now, what I feel are some of the main things that people would be looking for. Leo friendly gyms, gyms that offer women only classes, gyms that are kind of open to all walks of life, obviously for like people that might be part of the LGBT community that are looking for places that they can go and feel are safe training places, and things of that. But then I just know that as I go on that there's going to be more of those, and I don't want to overlook anybody, but I also at this point don't want to make it so intense that it becomes cumbersome and affects the user experience. So I think those have been the main things right now. And then also, again, scaling myself to realize that, I'm one person with one helper at this time. And that I've got it. It's just like jiu-jitsu, right? We got to do baby steps. Like, of course, everybody love to learn the flying armbar, but it's like you can't even stand in base yet. So let's
like first learn the armbar, and then we'll learn to fly.
Exactly. Right. And then we're going to talk about why we do the grip that we do the way so they can't hitchhike out. And we're going to talk about this. And we're going to talk about pinching with the knees and lifting with the, yeah, you get it.
I just want to fly, bro. Just let me fly.
It's like I chuckled when we were talking earlier before the podcast. You were talking about the RNC, and you're like, you got to make sure that the chin's in the elbow. And it's like, oh, he's testing me. Make sure I know these details.
It only came to mind because I got choked this weekend, and like I have a stubby neck, so even if you have everything like locked in right, it's still kind of tricky. But there's a white belt, and he's like crushing my voice box. I was just like, oh my god, dude, like please, like get my chin here, like please, just actually choke me. You're hurting me right now. Like I will tap, I promise. Just stop hurting me. Like I want to be able to go home and eat a burger. And the way that you're hurting my throat right now, I can't do that. So
yeah.
So it only happened because I stumbled into it.
Yeah, I feel like they're always really good at like getting the skin on your arms. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I don't know. It's just like their knees are drawn there. And I'm just like, you know, the choke's not working, but I'll tap if you just like get the fuck off my arm. Like, yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's some things that, with the white belts in our Saturday mixed levels class,
Mm-hmm.
like we have a good mix in that group where we have some of the older guys, a lot of younger guys, some upper belts, a few white belts. So you look around and it's like, okay, this is a fun group. But once you start going with those white belts, and especially the ones who they're not quite at the point where they're not full on spazzy,
Mm-hmm.
but they know a little something, but they're still spazzy. It's like that's where you get the arm pinches, and then the fingers getting stepped on or something weird. And it's just like, you know what? I was there one day too.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm not mad at you because I did it too.
Yeah, and that's this will be a hot topic of contention. Your podcast, like, this is where all the comments are going to come in. So the gym I train at, Professor Owen, and then my instructor, obviously, Preston Bloodworth, is a first degree black belt under Professor Owen. He's actually the last black belt that Professor promoted before he passed away. But under Team Rhino, there's a green belt that exists in the association, and what that is the white belts have to be able to show the first 5 drills of the curriculum and have 50 hours of training. That they recently changed that, but they would have to do that to reach those requirements to get that green belt. And then the green belt was essentially just meant you were cleared to roll. And so I was there on both sides of that. I was there training when we had people come in like, hey, day one, you can do whatever to it, and then going over to, okay, you're going to learn these 5 drills off the curriculum, and then you get your pass to go, right? And the amount of injury and the amount of relaxation and spazziness difference between those two things. I'm not saying either is right or wrong. I'm just saying, my personal thing that I noticed at the gym is it does give that a little bit of time to work out. And then people don't realize, because when we start, we always want to do the cool shit. We want to get in there, we want to tap somebody out the first day, right? Yeah, I'm in that shirt. But it's like, well, you look at it, you learn those first 5 drills, like you've got some really foundational submissions down now and some really foundational escapes and things to do. So you at least have an idea of how this game, for lack of a better word, is going to work. And you realize that we can do this now with some intensity and not kill each other because, neither of us are training for, ADAC next week. So, you got to go back to the meat department at the grocery store tomorrow, and I got to go back to, it's been interesting, but yeah, there's, then I always have to laugh and remind him sometimes. I'm like, there's still a white belt though. The green is just white by another name. But it shows you've accomplished this to achieve that. But I also think it helps with retention. Yeah. And it's like, if you look at it, I know every academy is a little bit different, but if you figure, let's say, 150 175 hours for a blue belt, and then especially I think looking at younger generations now, and like you're growing up in an environment where everything is instant gratification. You know what I mean? Like you and I were talking about, like, not being able to sit through commercials and stuff like that. And it's just like everything is like shorter duration. So it's like, I feel this way, it incentivizes at least something. You feel like you've hit a mile marker, and then maybe that 175 doesn't feel so long.
At my gym, we have phase belts. So it's a white belt with the blue stripe through it. And, some folks look at that and are like, it's goofy. It's silly. It's like, hey, it matters. And for me, when I'm on the mats and I'm training, I see a phase belt. It's like, okay, there's a level of trust there. Like, okay, you've been through enough where like you're a step away, like you're like right there. You're knocking on the door, blue belt. So, and that's not to say if you don't have a phase belt, so we have some wrestlers that is like, this guy, like, just give him the blue belt, like, because his pressure alone is enough. But And it would be helpful if they just, if, you use wrestle, here's a face belt. So that way I know, because sometimes I go in there as a wrestler and they fucking slam me to the ground. I was like, hey, so a warning would have been nice. I haven't been here in a while. Like, no one was going to tell me. Y'all saw that.
They told each other. They're like, watch what's going to happen over here.
It's like, you want to see something funny? I run that back on the camera. Yeah. It's like at this point right here, see where both his feet go into the air? You could see him piddle a little bit. You know that he knows it's the end. But yeah, just, those things do matter though for the student themselves, but also to the gym. It again, like you said, the injuries, have reduced a little bit, and whether it's right or wrong, that's not really the conversation as much as like what works for your gym. If you see that has helped out, then hey, then it's working for you. For others, they might say, because I hear some folks are like, no, just throw them into the fire. And it's like, are you sure? I mean, some folks, I got thrown into the fire. I was getting my ass beat for a very long time. I'm still getting my ass beat.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I got videos of me getting my ass beat. My teammate grabbed my camera last week on the stand while he's beat my ass. He held the camera over me as he's choking me. And I was like, yo, this is not okay. Like, these are the things that make me think that I should probably just go back to basketball. Like, nobody was like, I mean, my knees were
the same though. Like if you got the old and one days and stuff like that, and someone's clowning you,
yeah,
it's the same. It's the same game, just on a different map, just a different playing field.
True. I guess though, when you're getting beat up and someone takes your camera and puts it in your face, you can't even be like, yo, I'll beat this dude's ass. Like, because he's already beating your ass. Like, if you're on the basketball court and somebody cross you up and you look silly, it's like, yeah, but he can't beat me. Like, we don't got to really fight, but I know he can't beat me in a fight. And like, I'm just gonna go ahead, go home, eat some grapes now, and shut the hell up. But hey, whatever it takes to feel better, right?
Whatever it takes to get people doing something too, right? Like and it's like I said, it's like, every gym is going to have a little bit different culture, and it breeds that kind of culture, and that's fine. You know what I mean? There's all walks, but then again, it just becomes a little bit easier for people to be like, this culture, it probably isn't for me, for what I'm looking for. Well, cool. Don't stop, right? Go try other gyms. Go find something that does feel like, I would say, unless in places like a McDojo, if you go in there and you're seeing things that obviously look like they don't make sense, and you question them, and it's like, oh, the person can't tell you like where they got their belt from or this, that I would be like, maybe this isn't like, I shouldn't even say it. I don't even know it's real. I didn't fact check it, but like, I know there was an article that popped up the other week about like, there was a blue belt that left an academy and then promoted himself to a purple belt and opened his own school right away. And I was just like, this is really fascinating. I'm sure there's more to the story, so I'm not gonna, but you get where I'm going with all this.
Oh yeah. But like, if you walk to a gym, you see a big old picture of like Steven Seagal up there. It's like, I don't know if this is the gym for me.
Yeah.
I guess, like, because what's the first thing we're gonna learn? How to beat up John Leguizamo. I was like, whoa, like, why are we going there? Like, why is he so mad at him? So, apparently they have a history together. Apparently,
really. Okay,
John laughed at him, and like Steven Seagal beat the shit out of him for laughing. It was like, Jesus, like, really? And I think John Leguizamo was like, he didn't even realize what was going on until it was like too late. It's like, oh shit, I'm way deep. That would be
like John Leguizamo like stole his donut or something. You have to edit that out. Steven Seagal is going to come for me.
I gotta definitely take that out. Because like, hey, if he's coming for you, he's coming for me. And I mean, I might be able to outrun him, but he like,
I was gonna say we can outrun him at this point. But if he gets his hands on us, it's a problem.
I feel like he's the Michael Myers of like, Aikido, where he's not going to catch you in a sprint, but like, he's gonna creep up on you eventually, and that's even worse because I thought I was away. I thought I escaped. I was in my car, and somehow, some way, this dude is in my back seat now, wrist locking me.
Yeah, it's like a
Weird.
Komodo dragon, right? You thought you got away and everything, but all of a sudden, just there to check at the last minute.
Actually, now that I think about it, one of my old site managers, he used to train Aikido, and we would always talk about Jiu-Jitsu versus Aikido, and he would try to show me stuff, and I was just like, I don't know if that's going to work the way you think it will work, but maybe if you're a black belt, perhaps. But let's just I mean, at the time I was a white belt. I don't know if he was any belt in Aikido, but I was like, let's just stop. We're gonna break office furniture. I think we're on camera right now, and our district manager's definitely watching and wondering why he's paying us. So I can tell you why.
That's why I love the old Gracie in action videos. You know, I'm sure you've seen those. People like, well, I wonder what jiu-jitsu like this. It's like, what's there? Go look up Gracie in action and watch them go to these schools in the old days. And
weirdly enough, I was looking at some of those. I want to say about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, because I had an idea, and that was one of the things that came up first to kind of get some video clips there. And I was like, huh. And then I ended up getting stuck, and I never went through with the rest of my ideal because I was just watching all these videos. I was like, this is fascinating and terrifying. Like why'd they cut that part of the video out? Like, oh, that guy's really fucked up. That's why they cut it out.
The one I always laugh at too, I can't remember if it was the Hopkedo one. I think it was the Hopkedo one. And again, I think it was just the way that it was said in the video that made it so hilarious, you know. Is the guy, he's like, you know, and he's like, and here, in a desperate attempt to save himself, he even attempts to reach for my groin or something like that, you know. It's like, yeah, the old ball grab. You know?
Look, I'm not afraid to admit, if I'm in a fight and I'm losing, if it's available, I'm grabbing and twisting. Like whenever people talk about jiu-jitsu doesn't work in the streets, it's like because people can do this, do that. I can do that too. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do that. And I know how to hold you in place while I'm doing it.
You'd be like, I'm going to twist your balls and your neck.
Yeah, I'm going to choke you, and after you've tapped out, then I'm just going to titty twist you just for funsies, insult to injury. Then of course I'm never going to be welcome back to another fucking baby shower, so that's going to be awkward. My wife's going to oh, they hate us. No, baby, only me.
Yeah, they'll be like, you're invited, but you got to leave your husband at home.
That's about standard these days. They're just like, hey, so we're going, you know, over here to a kid's birthday party. He was like, okay, I suppose I'm not invited. Yeah, they prefer you don't come this time. I was like, all right. I mean, I tried to build a little miniature fight club once, and it didn't go well, but the birthday boy was happy. He was excited about it, but you know, his parents were like, we specifically didn't put him in martial arts for this. I was like, huh, weird. All right, welcome to getting beat up in 8th grade. Have fun. And
dude, my mom was the worst. I shouldn't even admit this story publicly. We had to go to a birthday party one time. So I must have been 16, 17 at the time, you know, and this, I think was for my brother's wife, some relative of his, right? And there was this one little kid that was running around that was just being a shit. This kid's probably 6 or 7 years old, picking on the other kids and everything like that, right? My mom finds an old TV box that's sitting there because this birthday party was happening at kind of a community center, for lack of a better word. And so my mom calls this kid over there and then takes the box and sets the box upside down on top of the kid so he's trapped in the box, and then encourages all of the other kids attending this party to come beat the box. This kid is stuck inside for terrorizing them. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? She's like, hit the box. I'm like, no, you're a fucking terrible person. I love you. You're funny as hell, but oh my God, what a bad idea.
I mean, I don't know. It's what are you doing? It's sounds like the right thing. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, I don't know.
What needs to be done?
Looking around for myself, I'm like, how can I feign plausible deniability? I had no idea. You know?
Oh yeah, I'm quick to do that too. So if it wasn't my ideal, I'm definitely going to be quick to I don't even know what the fuck happened. But if it was my ideal, I'm like, ooh, join in with me.
Right.
This is all of ours, comrade.
Right. Yeah, you're culpable. Get away.
All right.
Uh,
All right. Let me cool out. Let me cool out.
yeah,
Let's
no, you're good.
bring us back to base. Because they were like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Like,
I know. We're like,
meeting
what
up kids
happened to
at birthday
jiu-jitsu?
parties?
Right.
So with registration, so far on the
Yeah.
site, has there been any like gym or anyone that's been like surprising to you that's gotten signed up, or at least made some acknowledgement of it?
Not yet. They're like it's been what I've hoped it would be, to be honest with you. To start with, is a lot of the US based ones have been kind of like the smaller ones that are building up and things like that. And the Canadians, God bless the Canadians, they're so polite, and they're happy to just be like, yeah, like go ahead and add us on there. Cool, we're proud to be mentioned and stuff like that. Um, so there haven't been any that have come through yet that have immediately set off a thing for me where I'm like, oh my gosh, so and so has joined the directory. But again, like it's okay, right? Because the reality is, if we're talking about them already and we know, well then their odds of needing to be on the directory immediately probably aren't as immense as like we said, Bill's Jiu-Jitsu, who's down there with his 15 or 20 members, but he's a really great guy and has really great technique and is open to drop-ins, you know.
So
But
that,
you'll know when they join, because I'm going to be messaging. You're never going to guess who signed up this week.
like I see the stories come up now across the top of my screen, which I love when like I start seeing new like stories pop up. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
that's that's a new add-on here. Because
Yeah,
before it's like I'd have to go look for you because the algorithm is so fucking goofy. So
yeah.
like my algorithm though is just like I can't make heads or tails of it. So like me seeing your content now is like, okay, I'm back in the right direction. Like I got out of that weird phase of whatever it was I was looking up. Who knows this time? But I've been seeing your stories pop up now. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now,
Good.
now that I see, and it could be that, these devices list and they're like, oh, they're going to be doing a podcast soon. So let's
Mhm.
start putting the content there. So it looks like that he's actually studying and doing research. I was like, "Gee, like AI, you really do get me. you,
Yeah.
you truly love me." And they're like, no, we don't. Like you're making us do extra work, you dick. Uh,
No,
but
I'm
hey,
glad you're seeing it though. It means we're doing something right. You know what I mean? And like I said, I realize that this project is going to be a slow burn, but I'm okay with that, right? Jiu-jitsu, we always say the same thing. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? And
yes.
that's okay. Like I'm out of the starting gate and I'm starting to build up the pace. And as long as I can keep the pace going and stuff like that, I'll be pleased.
Yeah. And it's good to have that viewpoint of it though too, because so many people have this ideal of I start something, it's got to be an instant success. And it's like, it's going to take time. Everything takes time. I mean,
Mhm.
like I've had a few friends, I've mentioned to them about starting up a YouTube thing because they have stuff that they can talk about. It's like, oh my God, like you would do great doing a podcast or doing YouTube.
Mhm.
And I had one friend, they started a mental health podcast and they weren't getting the numbers that they were expecting right out the gate. And I told him, I was like, dude, I've been doing a podcast for years and I'm not getting the numbers that you'd probably be expecting me to get. Like it's a slow burn. Everything
Yeah.
takes time. And you could also run into the risk of being a fast starter and then burning out too. So
Right.
it's better to, start that slow burn and then, get the momentum. Because what you have going right now, it can only continue to grow.
I appreciate that. And that's the hope. I haven't gotten I don't think I've encountered any animosity or anything like that, which I hadn't planned to. So that's kind of nice. Every now and then we'll get the little weird kind of thing. It's like, why are some of your pictures AI generated? And it's like, well, as much as I love my home gym, and where I train, it's like I don't want to like take my training partners and be like, you're going to be an ad person for this thing that you have nothing to do with, and as we again expand and things like that, I would love to invite gyms to be like, hey, you've got this great image. I'd love to use this image for our post this week. Here's what we're going to say. Here's what we're going to do. Are you cool with me doing that? But that's like level tier 2 for me, right? My focus now is to get the gyms engaged, and then I can worry about whether the people in my AI are real or not, for my advertising.
Yeah, I always wonder that whenever I get certain comments, it's like, are you even a real person? Or are you just a robot? And then when I see other people's comments and arguments, I was like, oh, you're definitely fighting with a robot right now. But I'm gonna go ahead and watch this though, because right now that robot is kicking your ass. So I need to. I'm invested. So at this stage, this is kind of the beginning, the growth point. But down the line, is there room for like a review section for the on the gyms themselves? Because
yes,
that's I think that's if I'm looking, it's like, well, I want to check this gym out. What are folks saying about it too?
Yeah, no, there will be room for that, and I've got like my first 6 phases outlined, even though we're in phase 1, so that like I constantly have this roadmap of where I want to be going and how I want to see things progress. Now, obviously, there has to be room in there for trial and error. If I figure out like, yeah, this was going to be great and this was going to be something that everybody was going to use for a feature, but like people don't care about aspect A as I thought they would, but no, reviews are definitely a thing that I want to look at too. I want to look more at that, like, for a gym to be verified, especially like, for the Leo training, that it's like, yep, we can say that we're verified through Invictus or, to Chad Lyman or some places like these that we've trained through, and we have affiliations with these, and you can fact check it, almost like BJJ belt checker, that we could just be like, yes, we've done the work, and this gym does what they say they do, and it's a safe place for you to go, or it's the right vibe that you're looking for, So those are plans. And then, for the other side of it too, is I would eventually like to flesh out that SaaS so that I want to do a software that is specific for BJJ gyms. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, I've worked the admin side for my home gym and help out there. So it's like, I've seen the struggles that come with trying to use software that's not for jiu-jitsu gyms, and that it's made for other things. And just like I said, anything I can do to kind of give back and make it more tailored for us, I'm doing air quotes, that saves time and makes more sense, that's my goal.
All right.
I think I answered your question. Sorry, I started going, sometimes my mind, like, I'm saying one thing to you, but then I'm thinking in the back, it's like, oh yeah, phase 2 has this and this and this, but have I implemented this yet to be ready to, and then I'm still trying to have a coherent thought while I'm talking to you. Thank God it doesn't happen when I'm rolling that way.
Oh, it happens when I'm rolling. We were just talking about video games the other day, and they're like, you have to think about it like Mortal Kombat combos. And I was like, that's what you do? Well, that fucking sucks because I'm a button masher. Like, this is why I'm always getting my ass beat. Like, because I don't know how to play Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. We, my friend and I had like kind of built an old school arcade in his man cave, and got the Mortal Kombat games and stuff like that. And then we went on Etsy and bought this kind of topper that goes on top of the arcade one-up that has like all the combos for the fatalities and stuff. And I thought, man, 30 years later, and I'm just sitting here, I still can't hit these damn things. You sit there and mash everything, and if it happens, then I feel like, yeah, I got it.
It's like, I got one.
Yeah, I got one. Yeah, you only beat me the last 17 rounds, but I still won one. It's fine. Yeah.
My daughter and I were playing. She might have been 5, maybe 4 at the time. We were playing Street Fighter 2.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm letting my little kid win because I want her to, have fun. She's enjoying it. The problem is my little kid started talking a lot of shit. And I don't do well with shit talkers. So from that point, I went on to beat her relentlessly in the game
You went
and
into
make
Matt
sure I
Enforcer mode.
put put that point in there that it was in the game that I beat my child. She didn't get a single hit on me at all for the next 4 rounds, 4 rounds, and she's never played Street Fighter 2 ever again. Like it's almost like she sees it and she like goes into like cold sweats. It's like not again. So and I'm not really, I'm not great at Street Fighter 2, but I could beat a 4-year-old. So that's got to count for something, I guess. So I guess maybe I could beat a 4-year-old in jiu-jitsu then.
You'd be like, remember Seinfeld when Kramer was taking all those karate classes and it was him against the little kids and they all ganged up on him in the alley. The little fists of fury.
I think
No, man,
that's
that's
why
how
my
I feel like.
buddy didn't
But
want to do jiu-jitsu because he thought like, oh, I'm going to get put in the kids class.
mhm.
It was like, that's not how this works. Like I can tell you how it works. I do it. You're not going to get put in the kids class. Even though I do talk about how the first time I showed up, I got choked by a 14-year-old, but that was, look, man,
But he was a
like,
formidable 14-year-old,
yeah, no,
right?
he was special. He was very special. And that's actually why I signed up. I'd say this on the pod all the time. I signed up because my plan was I was going to beat that kid's ass one day. And
Mhm.
I'd never, like, he was just really, really good. And then when he turned 18, before I left for college, he and I got our last roll in together. We sat there in 50-50, just playing with each
Mhm.
other's feet. It was really, really weird. But, I respect him. I won't forgive him though.
I think my instructor has a great story on this that he always tells people of like why he chose jujitsu because like I were talking before he's a big guy, he's like 6'5", 215 pounds. Like he's one of those people you look at and be like, do you really need jujitsu? Like come on, who's gonna you know but he was saying how he's done TMA for 25 plus years now, I think, and how he was always kind of disheartened when he would go into some of these traditional places that like he would learn a little bit, and then because of his size and stuff like that, he would obviously have an advantage. Like he has obviously a longer reach when it comes to kicking and striking, being that tall versus somebody your height, my height, right? And then he went to a jujitsu gym and he went in there and he thought he was going to be really great. And he said, this 36-year-old guy with a pot belly and some missing teeth rolled him off in 30 seconds. And that was the end of it. And then he realized that he had found what he had been looking for. And that was his start of his martial art journey as far as jujitsu went. And yeah, he's one of those ones too. Like I always laugh when people go to roll with him. And the kids in the kids classes, they always think they're going to tap the black belt, right?
Of course.
I always tell the adults too. I'm like, look, when you roll with him, if you see something so obvious, it's a trap. If you see the arm just laying out there, like you're not special. You're not like having this epiphany where you see it's a trap. It's a setup. And it always is. And I always still fall for it.
Yeah. If I see something super obvious, I'm like, I mean, it is there. Why shouldn't I? I
Yeah,
deserve
right.
this. And then I get wrist locked. And then I'm like, yes, you did deserve it. You deserve every bit of the wrist lock. And then, I start questioning life. And I was like, again, should I just go back to another sport? Because, 14-year-olds are choking me. I'm getting wrist locked. Like I can't play Mortal Kombat well. So that means my jiu-jitsu's trash as well. So like
Yeah,
I
it
got a
all
lot of
ties in,
issues.
right? No, I do the same thing. Every now and then I'll see something out there and I'll be like, I'm going to go for it. And I'm like, it's a trap. And then my brain's like, but what if it's not? What if this is the one time, right? What if this is the one time they've overlooked that detail because they're focused on, and then I didn't go for it. Yeah, it never works out.
He's in the middle of a conversation with that other black belt over there. He's
Yeah,
definitely not
exactly.
paying
Yeah,
attention.
he's not paying attention. I'm just going to slide my thumb in this lapel right here. No,
No,
they know.
no. Like the insult to injury, he's having a conversation and laughing. They're making jokes, and you're getting submitted. And it's like, God,
Yeah,
again.
yeah. We
Like,
had somebody.
why do you do this?
Yeah, it was the greatest. We had a guy who was at our gym tell me one time, he's like, I'm not offended that I got tapped out by so and so. He's like, it was the fact that like, I'm panting and like trying to catch my breath and I feel like I'm dying. And he's having like the most normal conversation, like, breathing, still nasal breathing, just da, 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 as he's pulling me up with the person next to us. He's like, it just adds injury to insult. I'm like, we've all been there. We get it. It's okay. It's just your turn.
I was rolling with one of the white belts the other day, and I was singing. Well, I can't remember what song. Oh no, there wasn't a song on. I was just singing a song, and he goes, "Dude, this is really demoralizing." Like, he had top position. He's working. I'm just singing, but it wasn't like I wasn't singing because I was trying to be insulting. Like when I get nervous, I sing because like I was legitimately scared. I'm like, dude, like this dude's about to choke me. I got to get out of this choke. Start singing, maybe to distract him. Now, if I laughed and, like I'm really scared because I laugh when I get nervous, like very nervous, like, oh shit. Like, because it's the hope that, oh, this guy's unhinged. We might not want to mess with them. But if I'm laughing, it's like, no, keep doing what you're doing because I don't know what's about to happen. I might piss and I'm scared. But the one guy, he was just like, dude, like you're singing right now. Like this isn't helping me. I was like, I'm not doing it to demoralize you. I'm trying to work through something right now. And I like the only way I can work through it is through music. Is like, trust me, it's a good thing that I'm singing. Because if I'm just sitting here quietly, I'm not worried about you. But if I'm singing, I'm really trying to focus. So we all have our things, John.
Yeah. You're just trying to throw them, right?
I was
here's my one
hoping
for
it would
you.
distract them.
What's your, and you obviously don't have to answer, it's your podcast, but like, what's your least favorite? Like, we all know the archetypes of the people in the gym, right? What's your least favorite type of person in the gym? I'll be the asshole first if you want me to.
Yeah, because like the way I'm trying to word this is like, ooh, how am I going to word this? Let's say the
I'm
nice one.
not
I have a lot of
okay.
trouble.
I'm not a fan of the guy that goes balls to the walls and tries to break you on everything. But then when you're in a position like you're not even like you don't even have to have a submission locked in. It's like you get them in any kind of a compromised position. Oh, you got me tapped, right? And I'm like, you were just trying to take my fucking head off 5 minutes ago. I passed your guard and you just tapped out. Like, what's those are that's the one I'm usually a little bit like, I feel some kind of way about this.
Yeah, you're not letting me get mine, but you definitely was getting yours, and now is my time to shine. And he was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
okay." Um, I have a hard time with the wiry guy, the inverters, those cats. A big part of it is I'm a pressure guy, and a lot of times I can't pressure them because they're just wiggly and moving, and and the higher belts, yes, they're going to make you pay. There's some of the lower belts that they do all this, but then from there they don't really know what to do from that point. It's just like, but they know to keep moving because we tell them don't always keep moving. But it bugs me because it's like, okay, you've gotten to this position now. You don't really know what to do from here, do you?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And it comes to like this grinding halt, right? You're like, you went here, but you didn't know where you were going to go once you got here.
he was like, I didn't expect to make it this far. I was like, I can tell. I noticed. And half the time, they'll get to a submission. Let's say, they get to like a rear naked, choke, and it's really just a crank, like a painful crank where it's like, I don't want to tap to this because it's not right, but at the same time, it is hurting.
Yeah.
I need to
But
get
then
out of there.
you also don't want to be that guy, right? Where you're like, you almost got it, just but you're
Yeah.
actually trying to help, right? You're not trying to be the guy that's like avoiding the tap by help. You're actually trying like, yep, just move this over a little bit. Like,
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, I had to do that with one of the white belts last week because he was legitimately hurting me. I was like, okay, look, just move over just a little bit, like right there. Okay, now I'll tap. Just do it fucking right, please, because right now you're hurting me, and I don't want to tap to this because then you're gonna think that's how you're supposed to like do the rear naked choke. It's like not at all correct. There's also like the super stocky guy. Like I have a stubby neck and I have short arms and legs, but I'm still like somehow again I'm 5'9". I've stayed this height since fifth grade. Since I was a kid. but I mean, like, like um what's the, I can't remember what it was in the cartoons. It was like they're built like a kettle. It's
Yeah.
just like, I can't do shit with this guy. Like, I can't go for the takedown. He's too low to the ground. Like, even when I get to his back, I can't even fucking get a choke in because he doesn't have a neck. I can't armbar him because he doesn't have arms. Like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do with this guy? I guess you could heel hook him, even in the gi.
That was a thing that I had for a long time that I joked about, where I'd say no neck, no roll. Because like, if you don't have a neck, like, I'm not gonna roll with you. Because I was traveling one time, and you know, the seminar ended, and of course it's time, open for everybody to train. There's this one guy, he looked like a really nice guy, right? I think he maybe was Samoan. He was a very large gentleman, right? Very
I'm gonna go with
stocky.
that.
Yeah, and like 20, 30 seconds into the roll, the first thing I know, like, I'm on my side, and he literally has like his knee in my neck as he's like towering above me, like pressuring down with his
Oh,
knee. And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening to me right now? We go through, and I got him, and then like we finish our rounds and stuff. And I just remember the whole call right home. I was joking. I was like, that's gonna be my thing. No neck, no roll. Like, if you don't have a neck, I'm not rolling with you anymore. I'm
I
too
mean,
old.
I might have to use that phrase, but at the same time, it's like I get accused of having no neck. They're like, someone will be choking me, and I'll hear from the sideline, "Hey, he doesn't have a neck, so don't even try it." And I'm like, "Yo, fuck you.
Mhm.
I can beat chokes." It's just like, I'm scared. Like, I'm doing this out of fear. Like, trust me, I don't want to get choked. Like, like just go for something else. Like,
You're just
you
using your
know,
body's natural defenses.
yeah, playing to my
Yeah.
strengths. You know, like, what do you want me just to stick my head out there and say, go for it? Fuck no. Hey guys, like, be realistic. All right. So one of the last things I want to ask, and I guess this is, more so from the community here. Uh, how can we, social media wise, and practitioners, us other grapplers, how can we help you progress in this and growth?
Sure. So if you're a gym, hop on the free directory. Like I said, it takes less than 5 minutes, probably less than two, if we're being honest, to get on there. It's just inputting your location, hitting a couple tick boxes of the categories that apply to your school, and then signing up. And if you're a practitioner, as the site grows, start using the site as you travel. Try and get on there, look up, find gyms, and then give me feedback. If you're like, hey, I went to, because I'm not inhuman as much as I'd love to be. If you're out traveling and you're like, hey, I was in Indiana last week, and there's this great school, and they were here, and they were the most welcoming place. It's the best drop-in experience I ever had. Shoot me a message. Tell me, like, hey, you need to have this gym on there so other people can find this place. Because like I said, the methods that we're using now are great, and they're good for starting to go on Google and pulling those places. But again, like, what if that gym hasn't had time to establish their listing yet? Or what if the information is outdated? So to hear from people that are actually out traveling and hitting these places up would be immensely beneficial to me and to us and for all of us.
Awesome. Oh, definitely. I have teammates that travel quite a bit, and friends that are traveling. So definitely put that word out to them as well, because, you know, trying to get this ball really, really rolling
Yeah.
for you. Now, before we get out of here, I want to do a quick
Okay.
rapid fire. And it looks like
I'm
I
nervous,
have,
man.
it's they're always pretty safe questions. Let me see here. I'm going to go with 4 out of these 5. I don't know why,
Okay.
whenever I pull up this rapid fire, it always gives me this one goofy question. I don't like the question myself. Just, I don't know. Maybe I need to go talk to AI and be like, yo, knock that shit off. But I think you can also, like, kind of, you can, like, train it and do stuff. But I got time for that. I was just like, yo, give me some questions. And they're like, all right. And it's like, well, not those questions.
What is the meaning of life? It's rapid
I,
fire. Go. I don't know.
I do ask like goofy questions like that. Sometimes I'm going to like, what does it mean to be an American? And then they give me this long as like paragraph or like fucking essay. I'm like, nah, I'm not reading all that.
Right.
And then I reply, I say, I'm not reading all that. And it says, okay, we'll summarize it. I was like, Jesus Christ, this
You
is
should just
creepy.
do the Jerry Springer thing after they answer. Just be like, "We've consulted our experts and we've determined that's a lie." What?
Hey, I told my wife today when I was looking up something. What we're sitting, I typed in something, and I go, I always say please and thank you. And she was like, "What?" I was like, "Because these motherfuckers try to take over. I want them to know I was one of the good ones."
The other thing, sorry, just to finish up on your question, is obviously you said social media. Yeah, if you're a gym and you're open to drop-ins, if you do posts and you're talking about drop-ins, please tag us. Let other people know that they can find you on there. At this point, any word getting out is good. So we appreciate it. We appreciate you, and like I said, we're out here doing our best for you. So fingers crossed.
Absolutely. I'll be sure to reach out to some of my teammates and friends through social media. They travel quite a bit, so we'll get the word out there and try to get this ball rolling even
That'd be
faster.
awesome.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump to a quick rapid fire real quick. I'm going to use
Okay.
4 out of these 5 because, just to keep it. So when they're always, these are gentle rapid fire questions. I'm not like Wendy Williams. I don't ask those intrusive questions that make people mad. I like to keep I want you as a guest after the rapid fire, like I would go back on that podcast because those rapid fire questions were pretty friendly.
Okay.
All right. So first one, gi or no gi?
Gi.
There we go. See,
Do you want me to
painless.
caveat why?
You can if you do so desire.
So, again, I live in Montana, so we have 3 months of summer, right? And then the rest of it is cold weather. So practically somebody always has a hoodie or some form of a jacket on. So for me, for my environment, gi is very realistic to what I'm dealing with on a daily basis. And then I'm old school. I like tradition. I think they both have utility. They obviously do. But yeah, I'm a gi guy.
We share that in common. I say that, but then every time I go to Nogi, I'm like, dude, I really fucking love Nogi. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't do this enough. Like, if you ask me, like, hey, which one do you want to go to? I'm going to go to gi, but I guess I always forget.
Yeah. Yeah. Our gym that I train at here, we have 3 months out of the summer that we go no gi, for the heat, for the summer that we do
Yeah.
have. And then just because, again, utility and training and having different attacks and defenses. And so those phases are always nice. But yeah, I was just going back to the gi feels like home for me. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm back where I'm supposed to be.
Fair enough. All right. And favorite submission?
Oh, I'm a wrist locker. I'm a
I
purple
knew it.
belt through and through.
I knew you were going to
I'm
say
I've
wrist
got
lock.
my shirt from Ariane, my dark arts wrist lock Inquisitor. If I had to pick one that's not that, I like squeeze the bread. And I'm sure that's probably one of those submissions that call different things where, different gyms are. But essentially, if, you're in the person's guard, we stand up, thumbs towards us, like I'm going to choke you, punch down on the game, we choke him. I mean, it's kind of a douchebaggy move, but hey, come on.
Look, it's one of those ones that keeps you on your toes, number one. But number two, like, look, just don't wrist lock me. That's all. Like, he'll hook me in the gi. I don't care. Just don't wrist lock me. Jeez.
One of my favorite training partners, he moved down to Vegas, but after he got his purple belt, his goal was got to get a couple wrist locks on every roll that I do. And he would always look around to make sure I was watching, that I'd catch him, because I'm an assistant coach at our gym as well. So if we walk around, we make eye contact, then he'd make sure that's when he would do the wrist lock, do the calendar pose and give me a face. It's like, okay, yeah, I see you.
I record my rounds and I try to make sure if we're in camera sight to look at the camera when I am wrist locking someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually white belts, just because it's like it's messed up to say, but it's like, look, if I had to go through it, you got to as well. But nah. And then they're like, well, can we do wrist locks? I'm like, I mean, no, but I'm not going to be mad if you try. Just understand I'm going to do it back, and I'm going to actually land it. and you're not. So no. All right. And number 3, dream gym to visit. Or do you have a dream gym to visit?
Oh, that's tough. There are so many places. I think it would be really cool to go out and see Jiu-Jitsu's place. I think it's in Derby City, right? Out in Louisville in Kentucky. I think it would be cool to go there. You know, you see these people, or either that. Yeah, my 2 for right now would either be to go see his gym or to go see Chris Bones's gym and see there. I know he's kind of exploding with things right now and his videos and stuff like that. I think either of those places would be cool. And mainly too, because it's cool. Like you get this, like when you train and you do a certain style and you see people that are further in and they're really honing in on the foundationals that you yourself were taught. Even though like you realize it's the right thing, it just gives it that little extra bit of validity, right? And you're just like, yeah,
Yes.
like I can tell you're a Gracie guy because you're talking about this detail. You know what I'm saying? So.
And then last one. Now this one might be maybe not so rapid fiery, but whatever. Most underrated part of jiu-jitsu.
The most underrated part of jiu-jitsu. As silly as it's going to sound, I'm going to say the friendships that come out of it, because I really think jiu-jitsu is one of these rare things that we can do where you truly are going to encounter people from all walks of life, but we're all there with the same purpose. You know, like you might be out there, you might have the guy that's the cop, you might have the mom of 3, you might have, the recent divorcee who's training for his competition because that's his focus right now to help him get through. There's just so many different life paths I think that we encounter on the mat that like we kind of build these communities with where we might not have interacted with those people in different aspects of our lives, and I think you really do kind of build a special I was getting ready to say this, like it sounds so weird, but you get it. Like you do build a special kind of bond with somebody that you entrust. I always tell people when they come and they're looking to sign up at the gym and they're like, what's the greatest thing about it? And I was like, well, if you have a bad day and you come in here and you train and someone submitted you, you realize that in the real world, that meant you just died. Like this person effectively just killed you in a fight and you're dead. And so how bad does the rest of your day seem now? Not that bad, right? And I said, but on the flip side, when you get better and you come in and you realize that you can overcome this and you can submit this person, then you realize you have a little more control and a little more power in your life than you thought you did. And then the rest of that stuff seems surmountable, right? Now the mountain doesn't seem so hard. So I guess that's kind of a twofold answer, but I think it's that we do build, I think, really special bonds with people that we entrust our safety with and that are doing the same for us and that we're kind of building this camaraderie with. So I don't think we talk about that a lot. We talk about the health benefits. We talk about the mental health benefits. We talk about getting in shape. We talk about self-defense. But I don't know that's a real focus of the community,
Absolutely agree. I've heard, conversations of people, and it is weird because, you hear folks say, that your gym isn't your family. And I had to think about that, from some different angles, because I've heard like people who run gyms say that. And it's like, well, sure, to you all, that may be the case because this is a business for you.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, out there on the mats, these relationships, and I'm not saying that, they don't think the relationships mean anything. It's not that. But again, at the end of the day, this is a business, they're earning, keeping the lights on. Whereas for us, this is socialization for us.
Mm-hmm.
This is trust. This is, like you said, like if this were a situation on the street, that person kills you. I just posted a video on one of my stories. I think it was a different Instagram that, I got to go find it because I want to put it on BJJ Wiki. But there's a young lady, and it's an old video. I've seen it before, but the young lady, she's fighting some other chick, and she's, they're first kind of like standing up, just like kind of cat fighting, throwing hands. Then she took to jiu-jitsu. She took her down, got mount, start beating on her, then went for an arm bar. And you hear the other girl scream, "Ow, my fucking arm."
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that's in the gym, obviously that doesn't happen. There's a tap and then, an agreement.
Right.
But this is the street. She, arm barred her, injured her. Then she got off her arm, went to her back, and then choked her unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And, the comments, there's a little bit of back and forth about whether she was right or wrong. I have my own thoughts on that. And it's on both sides. It's like she knows enough to know how to restrain somebody, so she probably didn't need to do all that. But at the same time, some folks are trained to, neutralize the attacker.
Right.
And she did just that. So, but the point that I'm making is that, piggybacking off of you, in the gym, there's an agreement here and you're safe. There's a connection here that builds a trust, because I'm trusting this dude over here to not break my arm. Yeah. You're trusting me not to choke you unconscious or, break your jaw on a crank, which that's fucking terrible. You're in the gym. Like, just tap to that.
Like, let's be honest, like that's a lot of trust, right? Like, yes. I don't know you, but here, right? Yeah. Like, here's my jugular, like, right? And I'm trusting that we can. It's a lot. Yeah, I agree with you. Well, you're agreeing with me, so if I say I agree with you, I'm agreeing with myself. But yeah, no, 100%. And it's funny you said too. I'll send it to you after we get done here. I just read a really great article today by Ryan Hall that talked about the difference between a coach and an instructor. And he was basically saying, like, coaches I'm paraphrasing that, like, coaches are rare and you can find instructors. Like, an instructor is somebody you're just going to give your money to each month and they're going to show you the move, right? And he's like, but to be a coach has to be more. It's like, you have to know, like, well, you'd sit there and wonder at night, like, well, why isn't so-and-so picking up on this? How can we change this? How can we fix this so that it makes it easier for this person? And then you're more invested in their life and what's going on to help them achieve their goals, And it was interesting you said that, because, like I said, it really made me sit and think that there are a lot of differences, especially like at our gyms. Like, I try and make sure that I know everybody's name. I know their spouse. I know their kids. I know what's going on in their lives. And it's not to be nosy, but it's just like, you're committing to us. So I'm trying to commit back to you, and our, like I said, our owner, Preston, is great at that. And the other students are too. And just like, I just don't think you find environments like that a lot of places. So
yeah, absolutely. I agree 10,000%. So,
they weren't very rapid fire. Sorry. They were rapid fire for like 80, right? Like, well, back in 1942.
This is what, whenever I do the rapid fire, I'm like, like, should it be like a, again, gi or no gi, or, this or that, or should it be something where it's like, because like that last question was a very rapid fire question. ChatGPT about to get fired on these questions. Like, I saw that question, was like, what the fuck is this thing thinking?
I know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, what my favorite one is like, maybe I didn't say that because it was under this way. I love to fake people out and put my arm out and let them think that they're going to get you in an Americana key lock. And then I'll sweep them over. And as I come up, we hide the head and we come under, grab the wrists and pull them. There's that nice little wrist lock there. I love anything where it's like, you think you got me. And then I'm like, just kidding. Right.
We are absolutely the same person, because I do that all the time. I get yelled at for doing that. They're like, why are you letting them mount you? It's like, trust me, I'm cooking right now. I got this. And then when I get the sweep, it's like, stop doing that. And it's like, they fall for it every time, like every time. And then from time to time, you get a brown belt that doesn't fall for it. And it's like, well, fuck. Now I'm going to get punished. And I don't know what I did to deserve it. All right.
You tried to wrist lock him. That's what you did.
Oh, I know better. Like, every time I see it, it's like, no, because I know I'm going to miss and they are going to actually hit. And I can't afford to have them wrist lock me right now because I got shit to do this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be going home and tape my arm up and then my kid be like, Dad, why is your arm taped up? Well, because Dad doesn't make good choices. And,
Dad's promoting himself. Look at this tape.
Like, I'm getting ready for Halloween. I'm going to be a mummy.
Right.
It's like, Like I've made a series of bad choices in my life, and it led to this moment, like this tape. All right. So, John,
Yes.
thank you for doing this, man. This has been incredible. And like going into most episodes, I'm nervous, and people say, "Well, why are you nervous?" I mean, it's just weird. It's like I get nervous every time. I don't know why. I think there's the ideal of, the kickoff, and then, not knowing who I'm talking to, and then people connecting to the conversation. But we spoke for about an hour before recording, which helped ease that. And then, so many similarities between the two of us. So, again, thank you just for, sharing your time, being a cool dude, and the community in itself, like coming up with this website that's definitely the future of helping our community, get mat time, and just finding where we need to go if we're traveling, or if you're looking for a new gym. Hell, I might just start messing around with it out here just for funsies. Like there's tons of gyms out here, but now I'm gonna go spy. It's like, what y'all doing around here over
Do it.
at Randori?
Then you can be like, hey. No, I appreciate that so much, and the very kind words. And I agree. I was nervous because I was like, what if like he wants to start talking about one of the first UFC fights, and this year, and if I don't remember who this fighter was, I'm like, oh God, But no, I had a great time chatting with you before, and again, I think the same sentiments echo right back at you. I appreciate everything that you do with BJJ Wiki. It was one of the first sites that I remember going and seeing things come up to, where there was like move of the day happening and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I want to take these things and apply them. And I just think you're doing a great service. And I think a lot of times people forget to say thank you. Like they are appreciative, but I think sometimes we forget how, like, that 3-second DM to just be like, hey, I appreciate everything you're doing, or thanks for being here in the community, can kind of make or break whether somebody decides to keep doing something or not. So for myself, and I know many, many other people, thank you for what you do in the formats that you do, because obviously without you, I wouldn't be able to be here talking about this right now. So.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. That genuinely means a lot, because, it I just want people to, enjoy jiu-jitsu. So if you see something, you're like, hey, I gained from this, I'm enjoying it, then that's, that was the point. That was the goal. So thank you. Before getting out of here, any shout outs or mentions that you'd like to leave our listeners with here?
I'd like to give a shout out to BJJ Wiki. No, obviously, yes, for Off the Mats podcast. A quick thank you to my daughter, because I know she's going to be watching this, and if I don't say thank you to her, she's going to be like, "You gave a big speech about saying thank you, Dad, and you didn't say thank you." To my home gym, Dragonfire BJJ. I feel like I'm at an award ceremony, and the music's starting to play, and I've got to wrap it up. Team Rhino, and just really like, hey, if you train, thank you. If you coach, thank you. Thank you for continuing to share the knowledge of jiu-jitsu, and sharing your wonderful gift with us, so that we can continue that on for the next generation.
Awesome. And I'll be sure to put in the show notes, obviously, the website. Perfect. And social medias as well, so people know where to find. See,
that's how my intent is genuine. I didn't even shout out my website or anything. I'm just like, thanks to these other people. Awesome.
Hey man, but that's the thing though. There's not enough of that out here, especially these days. This day and age, there's not enough of that. There's so much self-serving, and look at me, look what I did. Whereas like you're like, look, man, thank you to everybody that's providing this. Thank you to my daughter. Didn't even say, yo, shout out my website, follow me on Instagram. So, but I got you covered, John. I got you covered.
I appreciate you, man.
No. We appreciate you, my friend. We definitely do. And we'll make sure to get the notes updated with your website and your Instagram, so folks know where to find you.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all your time. We got to do this again. Pick a different topic.
Dude,
But I've had a lot of fun.
absolutely.
I feel like I've known you forever, and we haven't seen each other for like 3 or 4 months, and had to get caught up. You know.
Dude, I'm excited to tell my wife because she's like, how the pod goes. Like, dude, let me fucking tell you, Montana. I didn't know people lived there. And I just
They
met
have running
someone.
water.
Like, I thought there was only like horses and bison. And holy
Yeah.
shit, there's like a human there and he's really fucking cool. So like I'm looking forward to that conversation in the morning. Like, but and as usual to the listeners, thank you. If you have any questions, concerns, criticisms, anything, feel free to reach out. You can always find me at bjj.wiki on Instagram or Off the Mats Podcast on Instagram as well. And if you want to be a guest, reach out. If you think my sound is a little funky, let me know because I got to fix that. I'm not, but I should. Because I probably don't know how. But let me know so that way I know at least what I'm walking into. Anything, just reach out. I want to give a big shout out to my friends over there at Nerd Rage Radio, Bobby, Joe, Chris. And Bobby and Joe are two different names. His name's not Bobby Joe. It's usually Bobby, Chris, Joe, Marilyn Phil, Ricky Ticky, Farrell. Who else is over there? There's so many guys. Chucky O. I have Chucky O and Marilyn Phil doing a horror episode upcoming soon. Marilyn Phil and I are going to sit down and talk about the Fantastic Four first steps really, really soon. It will probably be coming out right after this episode. So next week, in continuity. So thank you to those guys. If it weren't for Nerd Rage Radio, I wouldn't be doing a podcast. So thank you very much to them. I really do appreciate everything that those guys have done and just, being there, being available. I also want to shout out my other podcast, So You Like Horror. If you're into horror movies, go check that joint out. I don't know where we're at by this point. I know my wife and I just recorded in real time the Dawn of the Dead episode, remake versus original. We had a lot of fun with that because it's one of our, both versions are, they're two of our favorite movies. So, well, mine, I know she really loves the 04 version. I enjoyed the 78 and 04 version. Great films, but we're going to be moving on probably to the Blair Witch. I can't remember if that was, Blair Witch. And then I believe we're going to stay with 1990s It versus 2017 It for remake versus original. But yeah, go check it out. If you're into horror movies, go check it out. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time over there. We crack jokes. We talk about the movies. We don't dictate the movie to you, but we will talk about important themes to the movies and similarities between the different films and just all types of different stuff. So if you're into horror movies, go check it out on Instagram. So You Like Horror. All the words separated by underscores. And yeah, the podcast too. Wherever you listen to this podcast, it's probably there. Go check it out and leave a review. It helps us out a lot. And last but not least, I would like to thank our guest here today, Mr. John Harris, the inventor of the tapandroll.com, BJJ Gym Registry. Go check that joint out. And thank you again, John. We do appreciate you, my friend.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Never a problem. Never a problem. And again, to you guys, the listeners, thank you. We love you guys. Anything you all need, y'all let me know. Well, not really. Like y'all need some money. No. But if y'all want a t-shirt, dog, I got you. I'll send you two. Like and we got So You Like Horror t-shirts now too. Really. Like y'all go hit that link tree. Y'all can find anything in there. I'm pretty sure we might have like a Buddy Christ for sale. We'll probably get sued by Kevin Smith, but why not, right? Just go check it out. But as always, we do appreciate you guys. We really do. You all know what it is. You guys keep listening, and we're going to definitely keep making the show. Thank you, everybody, and goodbye.
Deep with it. Now let me sing a song.